Welcome to the National Credit Awareness and Resolution Association podcast at NACARA.org, your source for navigating debt repayment challenges during tough economic times. Today we'll explore how small business owners can more effectively use creditor tools, specifically divergent views between creditor and debtor. NACARA aims to bridge the gap between debtors and creditors as a paradigm shift allows debtors to propose their own repayment solutions. Let's get started. Stressful times? Pressures and stresses happen because they're real. So what's happening when the creditors themselves, not just you, are becoming stressed? When creditors face a serious economic downturn or worse, pressures and stresses build quickly. People are still people and can only handle so much without becoming overwhelmed. The same holds true for your lender's balance sheet, as well as its capital standing could be at stake. Lending teams have a huge job pulling off and fitting all the pieces together to make things work. It's a massive responsibility to keep the ship sailing in a safe and sound manner. As pressures build, indirect signals or messaging from senior management can take place that may impact the usual approaches used by the primary relationship officer, your loan officer, or the credit administration team, or the people in the special assets department, for the timing and accuracy of identifying, measuring, monitoring, and controlling credit risk. Unwarranted credit risk can build up by the lender becoming too lax, putting off the pain and the cost of having to reserve for problem loans. Regulatory scrutiny will increase. Senior management and the board may ultimately be required to take immediate corrective action if their credit risk management practices are criticized by the regulatory agencies. This happens. Economic cycles seem to always come, and the stressful times come along with them. It happens all the time, like I said. So what you thought might be the ordinary channels of communication and expectations, the creditor may or may have not taken actions that seem unusual. But just be aware that things could be going on with the lender as well. This is why it's important to be professional, diplomatic, and even respectful. As a borrower, this can be a tough period in your relationship with a creditor. Pressures and unforeseen stresses can quickly be placed onto your shoulders to perform. Through these times, it is imperative that you be professional, diplomatic, and respectful, as you may have a divergent view or some different opinion as to how your loan should hopefully be repaid. Hopefully, there's an established culture where you can share your thoughts freely. However, that is not always the case, especially when pressures build for the creditor. Depending on where the culture really is, you can get better results if you stick with documented and supported facts, conclusions, and recommendations, again, that are documented and supported. Your repayment plans, in other words, as you see them, may look like divergent views during these new stresses and pressures, these times. That's totally possible. Management still needs to see the facts, though, to make appropriate decisions. Rigorous loan discussions, monitoring, and reporting can be expected. This is a good thing. Don't just lose your cool during these times. Calmly ask questions and seek understanding of their expectations. This short ad is sponsored by the Debt Crisis Problem podcast. Attention listeners, please join us at tunabudget.com to tune in to the Debt Crisis Problem podcast, where, in plain English, we discuss the 20 risks that could soon fuel a serious economic downturn. We explore these critical risks and offer practical insights for navigating financial uncertainty. Join us for thought-provoking discussions that encourage transparency and awareness. Subscribe now to stay informed and be ready for whatever comes next. So why not cooperate with a creditor? Is it not best to live up to every condition and covenant you agreed to as signed by you in the promissory note and loan agreement? If you don't like the way the creditor is treating you by asking that you just fulfill your end of the bargain in good faith, you can always pay off the loan, right? Well, what if you can't pay it off? Well, why not cooperate with the creditor per the signed documents and then use your well-prepared heart and brain to present documented facts that support your repayment solutions? Seriously, why not cooperate? Maybe fear of the unknown, maybe, or fears of being sued or shut down, I guess. I suggest you confer with legal counsel, but I would also caution that the creditor wants to get to the bottom of the credit risk issues and get repaid as much as you do. Why not come together and find common ground? You've seen that what the creditor has already done to try to better understand and monitor your borrowing relationship, right? So why not give him your fully prepared repayment plan before he even asks for it? Please consider not leaving your creditor left for wanting. The lender will likely do what you ask it to do as long as it's safe, sound, and prudent for your situation. But in order to do that, it needs to see all the facts first, the ones it's entitled to see in the first place, the ones you already promised to give him in writing with your signature. To illustrate, let's suppose you had a wart on your foot, right on the bottom of your foot, and you couldn't get it to go away. You cannot just shave off the top of it and expect it not to come back. It will, because the root problem hasn't been solved yet or resolved. The remedy requires that you apply a treatment that will get to the root or bottom of the wart so that it will go away once and for all. Similarly, when you have a repayment problem, you need to understand the facts and eventually get down to the root cause of the problem so that you can apply the appropriate remedy or action. All the creditors need to get an understanding of these facts. After all, the creditor likely has more debt capital in your business than you have equity capital, right? So let's get well prepared, deliver a comprehensive repayment plan, and fully cooperate as much as possible. Even as you express a divergent view with the creditor, as you work through the issues, your lending relationship will be more solid than ever. Thank you for joining us. Today we covered the creditor tool, Divergent Views Between Debtors and Creditors, as debtors prepare to propose their own repayment solutions. We want to hear from you, so share your credit risk memo and debt repayment experiences, questions, and recommendations with us at nacara.org. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe for notifications of future podcasts. Your feedback helps other small businesses stay in business. Until next time, step forward and take responsibility for your own debt repayment solutions. Thanks again.